Greetings, everyone. Today we're going to explore writing linear equations from information. Please make sure you have your notebook out and the foldable provided to you. The foldable has one example of each type, and you're going to need to add a couple extra examples into your notebook. All right, let's turn to your foldable. The first option is to write a linear equation from information in slope intercept form. So a refresher, as it says in your foldable, slope intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Remember, m is slope. We've been working with that so much, you know that now. And b is your y-intercept. So in this example in your foldable, we want to write this equation, which means we need to fill in the m and the b. So I always start with a template, meaning I got to fill in the m and I have to fill in the b. So my m value in this example is -5, and my b value is my y-intercept, which is -1. Now you might want to not put a plus sign there, maybe just do the sign or use the sign that's with your y-intercept. And that's all it is, you guys. So this is going to be a lot of review from last unit. Fill in your m, fill in your b. From here, then we can use this equation to graph. Also in your foldable is point-slope form. So remember, point-slope form, your m is still in front of your x value, and you're given a point for your x and a point for your y, and remember that opposite sign rule, okay? That's going to be tricky. So to write my equation, I'm going to start with a template again. So I'm going to have y, a space, equals space, parentheses, x, and a space. Okay? We need to fill in our point and fill in our slope. In this case, in your foldable, you are given a slope of 2/3. So 2/3 goes in front of the parentheses. What value does this x represent? Does the 6 represent? Oh my goodness. I told you. The 6 represents x, right? It's a coordinate point. So then the -3 represents a y value. So should the 6 go with the x or the y in my equation? Well, it should go with your x. But now we need to determine your sign. Remember, the signs are always opposite. So if you are given a +6, that means you make it a -6. If you're given a -3 for your y, then with the y, you're going to put a +3. Okay? So you are literally filling in your m, filling in your xy coordinate. So the foldable is not very big, so these examples we want to add to our notebook. So take a second. For this example, you just need to write EX1. You just need to write that m equals -1/2, and you need to write point -1, -3. Please pause the video until you have those two pieces of information written down. All right, let's take a look. This point, is it a point or is it a y-intercept? Well, there's no 0 there, so I have to use point slope form. So I'm going to start off with a y, a space, an equals, a space, parentheses with an x. Use that point slope form template as much as you can. The m always goes in front of your parentheses. So -1/2 goes in front. Which value goes with my x? Well, -1 represents x, but I have to change the sign, so it becomes a +1. -3 is my y value, but I have to change the sign, so this y gets a +3. That looks like point slope form. Please pause this video to write down that your slope is 1/3 and you have the point 0.07. All right, let's take a look. That point is unique because it has a 0. So not only is it a point, it's the y-intercept because of the 0. Okay, so that means we can use slope intercept form. So I'm going to start off with y equals space x space. The slope always goes in front of the x, so positive 1/3. My y-intercept is 7. Because it's a positive 7, you don't change the signs in slope intercept. You keep it, whatever it is. That's why I like slope intercept form. You just fill it in and you're done. EX3. Please pause to write down that the slope is 1 and you're going through the origin for example 3. All right, let's talk about the origin. What is the coordinate value of the origin? Well, we have a 0, 0. And I have an m is equal to 1. Because the x value is 0, you can use slope-intercept form. Okay, so that means I'm going to have y equals space x space. The m goes in front of the x. And my y-intercept is 0. So guess what, guys? You don't even need that. Adding 0 doesn't help. Timesing by 1 doesn't change anything. So this final equation is actually y equals x. We call this the parent function because from there, all of their functions are created for a linear function. Right? So you can leave the 1x. Please drop the plus 0 though. Ideally, you would write it as y equals x. All right, one more. Please write ex4. Slope is 0. Point is 1, 4. All right, let's take a look. Before I get going, I've got a 0. Anytime there's a 0, there's something unique. Okay, let's talk about this graphically. You don't have to jot this down, just think about it. If I'm at the point 1, 4, that would be right here. If my slope is 0, what kind of line does that look like? You guys, a slope of 0 would look like a horizontal line. Okay, it would go through the y-axis at 4. So this equation is just going to be y equals 4. So here's the nice thing. Because we spent so much time graphing, if you get stuck, draw a little picture like I did. Okay? If you get something wrong and you can't tell me what went wrong or you don't understand, I'm going to ask you to draw a sketch. So many of us are visual learners, so it helps us identify that equation very quickly. So remember, this one goes through the y at 4 because its slope is 0. All right, make sure after this lesson that the first thing we do is we check Google Classroom. Okay, we need to make sure that we know what our assignment is, what our tasks are, or if I was absent, what I missed. Okay. Next, if you finish the Google Classroom assignment, please check PowerSchool to see what you have missing or what you need to work on next. And until next time, have a good one.